Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video of Green Square Talks Battlebots. Co-hosting, as usual, we have Pory Nog and Civilian Arc. Be sure to check out their YouTube channels, as both of them post a lot of awesome content. How are you both doing today?
I'm chilling, it's been a good week.
Uh, I'm doing poppin'. My predicted champ is still in it to win it, and I and
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
and uh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
I'm doing quite well myself, as I had 4 college exams this week. I took my last one this morning, so what better way to celebrate than do a podcast here, as it's always a fun party here. But yeah, all of our champions are still in it right now, as both Pory and I, our original champion advanced, Civilian Arc's original champion advanced
yeah.
as
Original.
well.
The champ that
What are we talking?
originated last week.
Yep.
This no. This is the original champ. Tantrum. I had Tantrum winning. What are we talking
Okay.
about? What is this?
No need to make a big
Sure.
deal about it, Civilian. Oh, but yeah, we're having a lot of fun here and such. So, in this video, we'll be discussing the most recent episode of BattleBots that was released last Thursday night and such, where the Sweet 16 was completed and such. So, if you haven't seen the
Spoilers.
episode yet, this video will be full of spoilers. And there could potentially be spoilers from the first 4 bounties if you haven't seen those either. Unsure, but you never know what could happen and such. So, wearing my Malice shirt today. They might not be in it, but they are in the tournament in heart for me and such. So
I mean, I'm sure there's some robots just from the episode that are on my shirt. Oh, who was in season 2?
uh
Sawblaze was
Tombstone,
there. Witch Doctor, Tombstone,
Valkyrie, no, not Valkyrie,
Rotator.
sadly.
Rotator was there.
I believe that's
Gigabyte
it.
was kind of there. Invader was
Yeah,
The
Invader.
sort
Flash
of like
was the
Gigabyte.
Flash was technically there. Well,
Ladder,
not.
yeah. Valkyrie, like, Leanne was on the Praying Mantis team, so Praying Mantis is kind of like Valkyrie, even though it like didn't compete. It's on the shirt though, so it counts.
Yeah. Lots of fun facts here, and yeah, Pory Nog has his season 2 Battlebot shirt on and such, so fun stuff here. While Civilian Art goes crazy over in that camera and stuff.
Hey, I'm positioning myself. I'm uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. All right, let's go ahead and get on to this first battle, where we got rematch from last season. We got Sawblaze and Witch Doctor here. Now, as last season, these 2 bots faced off in the top 8, where it was Sawblaze with the ground game against Witch Doctor, who had reach, and Witch Doctor won the battle with that reach advantage and such. And these two faced off once again with a relatively similar strategy to last time. But then Witch Doctor sadly wasn't so lucky in this one, unfortunately. So, what do you guys think of this fight?
I can never get this rivalry right. Whenever I predict Sawblaze, it loses, and whenever I predict Witch Doctor, it loses.
I predicted it right. It was cool.
This isn't fun for me.
It was a good fight, though. I mean, this is a candidate for the best fight of the season, in my opinion. It's up there. It's like top 5.
It's a good fight, but like I don't think it. I still think there's about 8 more fights that I like more than this one.
It was fun. It was like back and forth because at one point Witch Doctor was definitely ahead, and it was a very intense fight.
I think the only problem with it is that I wish this fight was like a bit longer. Like, well, no, this one. Wait, no, what am I saying?
It
went 2 minutes 59 seconds.
Yeah, we needed the extra
You need to
second.
be 1 second longer.
Extra second, guys, come on.
No. What you would want is the repeat of the crowd's reaction to Gladiator and Dissector, where the crowd was chanting 3 more minutes. That's what you're saying, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. There you go. You need a little support, so there you go, Civilian.
Gladiator versus Dissector was dope, though.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
Definite S tier.
Yeah, without a doubt. But yeah, this was a highly enjoyable fight, a great one to lead it off. I personally was expecting that this one would be the main event, knowing that it's a rematch between two top tier bots here. But I'm happy that it happened at lead off because it was an entertaining fight. Both bots managed to dominate parts of the battle and such, but overall, Sawblaze and Jameson Go seemed to outdrive Mike lately for the most part of this battle and such, which has kind of led Sawblaze to the victory and so on. And then, yeah, we saw Sawblaze get underneath Witch Doctor, land some devastating shots on top, including eventually pin Witch Doctor in a corner in position where they managed to strike the weapon area. And so on, try to get a few belts. I don't think they succeeded at getting a belt or two. I don't know for sure, but they were definitely really close, and they messed up that area for Witch Doctor.
I think I saw a belt.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, there's a chance I might not have noticed it, and so on. But yeah, kind of going back to the driving part, even when Witch Doctor managed to bend one of the forks, Eric's Sawblaze, one of them was bent in an upright position and so on. Like Jameson Go continued to just win the driving game, managed to get to the sides a few times, managed to get underneath Witch Doctor with one of the non-bent forks and continued. And if I remember, it looked like when Sawblaze backed into Witch Doctor, or with the Sawblaze like in a down position, like you see in the image there.
Oh, yeah,
that tap they got on Witch Doctor seemed to be what killed Witch Doctor, and such. Even when Sawblaze made a few other pushes before the countdown began on Witch Doctor.
Yeah,
it was a good one.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Excellent win.
I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised that didn't make main event because I thought that was like a perfect main event fight. But
yeah,
I mean, every fight was a banger.
I don't think that the main event should have been the main event of this episode, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was predicting it was either going to be this battle or it was going to be Black Dragon and Tombstone, because I know well from talking with a few of the Black Dragon and team members that one matchup that they've always wanted was a fight with Tombstone, and they got it in this episode, and which we'll be discussing in not too long.
I thought it was going to be one of the two rematches. Yeah. Like either this one or Valkyrie versus Whiplash.
Yeah, that would have been a good main event too. That was a good fight.
Yes, it was.
But we'll get to that though.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll get to that one as well.
I won't spoil it.
But yeah, excellent battle here. And a pretty well dominated win by Sawblaze, even though Witch Doctor did get a few great moments in there, managed to land quite a few big shots, leaving Sawblaze with a repair job to do and such. Like, not a massive one, but they got a bunch of work to do before they take on the winner of Bloodsport and Tantrum, which we will be discussing later in this podcast. So anything else about this battle from you two, or should we go to the next one?
I'm excited to see Sawblaze lose next round.
Slash and burn.
Well said to both of you and such. Yeah. Excellent, entertaining battle. Excellent win by Sawblaze. We'll see Sawblaze again next week. Next up, we got Ribbot and Uppercuts. Now, it's Uppercut, the 4 seed, going up against Ribbot, who managed to pull off an upset, taking out Beta and such. Well, it's not considered an upset to some of you, probably.
Nope.
Yeah, the people that are here. But this one was, in my opinion, my favorite fight of the episode. And such. I don't know if you two would agree with that, but
there was I liked the Hydra Gigabyte fight more, but this was a close second for me.
Yeah. At least you admit that it was incredibly entertaining, like Pory and I do. But yeah, all opinions are supported here and such.
So. All these fights except like one were like really good to me.
Yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, Ribbot came in with their undercutter configuration here. We didn't hear their game plans or anything. So what Ribbot intended through their undercutter is what they were concerned about was if they went with the vertical spinner and wedgelets, like what we've seen in a few of their past battles. What they were concerned is because they knew they were going to go head on with Uppercut at the beginning of this battle. Well, if Uppercut hit them somewhere that's not their weapon, Ribbot could potentially get disabled in one shot and such. So they wanted to go with the undercutter to avoid that problem. And so uppercut, on the other hand, here they came in with a wedge attachment to their front that's kind of meant to be like a defense for both configurations that Ribbot has, because they had no idea which weapon Ribbot was going to go with, so they wanted to prepare for both of them. So they have a wedge there that's pretty well armored for their undercutter, and they also made it incredibly low to the ground if they were to go up against the vertical spinner, which of course we didn't get to see, but it works out fine. So thoughts on this battle from you two?
It's good. The wedge, the fun fact, the wedge, like if you look closely at it, like a picture on Facebook, it says on the wedge, "I'm thinking about those beans." Like, that's just what the wedge says. Like
Wow, I did not know
uppercut,
that.
I mean. Yeah, like like
awesome.
that meme from like 2 years ago where it's like an old guy posting on the Bush's Baked Beans like Facebook page, and he's just posting saying, "I'm thinking about those beans." Like, that's what it says on the wedge.
Uppercut does have
yeah.
the type of team where they would do something like that. At least that's for how I see it. So it makes sense.
Very memey.
And yeah.
Did they dab? Oh no, they didn't have a tunnel intro, but I'm sure they dabbed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes.
I also heard that Ribbot like runs the undercutter because they're more agile with the undercutter.
Yeah, I would
Maybe
agree
because
with
they don't
that
have
as
to
well.
deal with wedgelets or anything.
Looks like it.
That's what I heard. I heard that they're more agile, so and they wanted maximum agility basically. But
Maximum frogitude.
maximum frogitude, and it was a glorious performance. I mean, Ribbot's a freaking tank, and they were going all the way.
Yeah, I will admit though, Ribbot, it surprised me how Ribbot came out of this battle alive, in my opinion, even though I picked Ribbot to win this battle and such, as Uppercut landed so many devastating shots, like wrecked both of the front wheels on Ribbot, took off the frog head, and yeah, I believe they temporarily shut down Ribbot's spinner, unless if that was mostly contact of the bot and such. But,
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ribbot's parts were just scattered all over the arena after this battle. But then that one shot from the pulverizer, or that separated both bots and sent them both flying, seemed to be the real turning point in this battle. Well, as Uppercut started having drive issues after that happened, Ribbot came in, landed a few more shots, and then Uppercut eventually stopped moving, and Ribbot hung back with their weapon that I believe was disabled, unless if it was overheating or if they just turned it off for any of those reasons or
maybe
and such. But yeah, Ribbot came out on top after taking a ton of damage. It's definitely one battle here. Uppercut definitely did not do this. I'm not saying this as a bad thing towards Uppercut, but don't ever count out the opponent, even if one bot is taking a beating in this battle.
Yeah.
And such.
Ribbot's a tank.
Yeah, it's very much a tank. And it's funny because when they were like when he was like talking about the strategy to me, and when he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go for the weapon," I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing?" Then he did it. I'm like, "Oh, okay." He knows what he's doing.
Yep.
He's good.
You doubted your own bot for a second there.
I didn't. I just thought that strategy wouldn't work the way it did, but I was wrong. And
I was wrong. I would be honest. I would kind of agree with that. As I was kind of expecting they would try to like outmaneuver Uppercut, because we saw Uppercut having its gyro problems once again and such. I was expecting that Ribbot would take advantage of that. And so on in this battle and such, and try to get to like a wheel or something.
Yeah.
So Pory, you got anything you want to say, to viewers here?
Yeah, this one goes out to all the people who doubted the frog, all the people who said that Ribbot was just a joke bot, everyone who said that. Everyone who I don't want to hear it.
Hey, you predicted against Beta, and you predicted against Tracer. Oh wait, no, you didn't. You said you didn't. Never mind.
He's good. But yeah, this one goes out to all the people who doubted Ribbot, who thought that Ribbot wasn't going to go all the way. Ribbot's going all the way, and He ain't just a joke bot. Don't let that frog fool you. Ribbot 2020.
Yeah, see, we're even now, Civilian Arc, as we're picking against Ribbot.
No, we're not. You have him against Black Dragon. You have Black Dragon against him. I'm for Ribbot.
It's about to be uneven, and basically,
Yeah.
but as of now, it's even until we make our predictions for the next episode and such, which will be later in this podcast and such. So, but yeah, Ribbot advanced, not pulling off a upset, even though in my definition, by the time we get to the top 16, I don't think there's any such thing as an upset at this point, as we have elite bots, it's there and stuff, and lots of them. They could go either way, basically. So I wouldn't exactly call this an upset, even though in terms of like rankings and kind of like how what Battlebots will talk about,
Seedings
they would
doesn't
call this
matter
one an upset since the 4 seed is out.
Seedings doesn't matter after first round.
Yeah.
Like,
Just not as much,
Okay.
in my opinion, because it's basically a ton of elite. It's basically a ton of the elite bots left and such. So
yeah.
happy that I called Ribbot elite, Pory.
Oh, they are elite. Yeah. I mean, even
Yeah,
like the top 32 or the top 16, even like you should be prepared to fight anyone.
I'm hoping at some point we'll get to see Uppercut and Mad Catter, knowing Mad Catter called out Uppercut after the battle with Ribbot and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a fun fight to watch. Yeah, my favorite fight of the match. We saw Pory's predicted champion move on to the top 8 here.
Yeah.
Here, where they will take on the winner of Black Dragon and Tombstone, which we'll be discussing soon and such. So yeah, excellent battle. Anything else on this battle from the two of you?
We did it.
All right. Next battle, where we got Bloodsport and Civilians champion Tantrum. Now, as we got the 2 seed Bloodsport coming into this one, came in with their bar spinner that's made for vertical spinners like Tantrum and such. And this one was a relatively entertaining battle, in my opinion. Not exactly one of my favorite battles of the episode, but I found it quite entertaining and such. So yeah, and then of course Tantrum came in looking to box rush Bloodsport and such, and land as many shots as possible with that vertical spinner plus puncher and so on. And it was a relatively good battle and a close one. So what do you guys think of this battle?
It was good. It was a fun fight. I mean, it was a bummer to see Tantrum's weapon die, but I mean, they were in control like the whole time, and that was very impressive on their part.
Yeah, Tantrum was pulling out all the stops on this one. He was elite driving, elite, just everything from Tantrum after it's lost its weapon.
Here's one question for you, Pory. What did your dog think of the battle?
She thought it was pretty good. I mean, she's kind of a Bloodsport fan, so she was a little disappointed about it.
Oh,
But,
yeah. And
yeah,
now
you
Bloodsport gang is gone now. Bloodsport gang is gone.
Yeah,
Bloodsport gang is gone.
The Bloodsportans.
Sawblaze gang is still in it.
The Sawblaze.
Not for long. Not for long.
Yeah.
All the robots have like a name. I don't know what Tantrum's name was. Ribbot is the Ribbot Rabble.
But yeah, this battle ended up going the full 3 minutes, as we did see Tantrum's weapon die relatively early, and it looked like it was stuck in the forward position and such, like the punching position and so on. I kind of wonder if that was potentially damage from their previous battle with Fusion, as we saw their weapon become completely crooked and we saw them take some severe damage. So I kind of wonder, since that bot is a really a really far engineered bot, there's a lot of technology in that thing, and I kind of wonder if potentially they weren't at 100% in this battle, which is kind of why that weapon kind of died early, as we kind of saw in that battle. But then of course Bloodsport, it wasn't going so well for them because one of the first shots from Tantrum managed to like break one of their wedgelets, and part of the wedgelet was in a position where it was preventing Bloodsport from spinning up fully temporarily until Bloodsport broke off the wedgelet, and eventually Tantrum removed the other wedgelet, leaving Bloodsport with not as great pushing power. So
Yeah.
what do you both think of this battle? Or what else do you guys got on this one?
Well, the thing, I know some people are probably going to complain about it because everyone likes Bloodsport, but something they do got to consider is that Tantrum was still technically dealing damage to Bloodsport, taking off the wedgelets and stuff. Plus, they were successfully taking Bloodsport to like the pulverizers and the screws and stuff, and that does get them like damage points.
And
Including I don't know if everybody here, whether you're co-hosting or if you're a viewer or know this, but when Tantrum actually pushed Bloodsport into the pulverizer for the first time, and the pulverizer struck their self-righting mechanism was actually bending a little bit and such. Like it was crooked after the first few hits from the pulverizer, and so on. So yeah, that's kind of like supporting Pory's point where even when Tantrum was pushing Bloodsport into the hazards and such, they were still causing a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So, got anything, Civilian?
Yeah. This one goes out to all my Tantrum gamers out there who were doubted. We've all been there. You know this feeling where everyone doubts you, thinks you're an idiot because you're picking Tantrum over the other bot. Well, guess what? We're in the quarters, baby. We're gonna take out Sawblaze. We're gonna take out. We're gonna take out whoever is coming back from the bottom right side. Whoever it is, we're murdering them. And then whoever we get from left side, they're done. They're dead. They should just drop out. We're gonna beat them. We're Tantrum 2020.
So basically, either Tantrum's going to win against Sawblaze, or Civilian Arc's going to have a temper tantrum in the next podcast.
No. Here's what's going to happen. You guys are going to have a temper tantrum when you see Tantrum win the whole thing.
I wouldn't have a temper tantrum. I'd be happy if Tantrum wins. I'd honestly be happy with any of the 8 bots if they won it, because yeah, I want to see somebody like new win the tournament. Not that I would have a problem with Tombstone winning it, as I would be happy with Tombstone winning it as well, even though it's kind of not possible at this point. But yeah, I'd be happy with whoever wins the tournament. Yeah,
it's exciting. It's more exciting this season. For the first time in years, I'm actually entering a season not thinking like, all right, Fight Versus probably going to win this, so let's enjoy the fights anyway. It's nice to know that I literally have no clue who the champion is going to be, even though it's going to be Ribbot. It's really refreshing and exciting to watch the show, because it's like anything could happen at this point.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the reasons why I consider all underseeds taking out top seeds. It's kind of a reason why this doesn't exactly. That's why an underseed taking out a top seed at this point in the tournament, I don't exactly classify as an upset in my opinion, and so on.
Well, I mean, this is still kind of an upset. It depends, because not a lot of people predicted Tantrum. I saw. I know us 3 all predicted Tantrum.
I did predict Tantrum.
Yep.
8 for 8.
So yeah. So what did you think of the judges' decision here? Because this battle did go the full 3 minutes, and it seemed like Bloodsports, when they were talking about the battle before the decision was announced, it's like they were sounding like they had a little bit of confidence that they won the battle. But what did you guys think of the judges' decision?
The way I would judge it is Bloodsport would get 4-1 in damage, because they did do a lot of damage. But yeah, then Tantrum I'd probably give all 3 control points to. Bloodsport had no control. And then meanwhile, I would probably give Tantrum 2-1 in aggression. And that's 6-5. So yeah, Tantrum.
I'd be actually 3-2 damage for Bloodsport, Because
I
Tantrum
could see the argument for that.
Tantrum was still doing a bit of damage. It made Bloodsport lose a wheel at the end. It took out all the wedgelets. It
Yeah.
bended Bloodsport's self-brighter a bit. So I'd say 3-2 damage for Bloodsport. All control points go to Tantrum. Aggression, 2-1 Tantrum, so that's 7-4 for
Yeah,
Tantrum.
so we're pretty close on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe I'm kind of the same as Civilian Arc here. Like I think I scored it like the exact same way as you did. I'll still explain in each category. As for damage, I would score it 3-2 in favor of Bloodsport because Bloodsport did dish out a lot more big hits than Tantrum did here. Like Tantrum did manage to remove both wedgelets, bend the self-right mechanism through the hazards. Managed to land a few other big shots with the puncher before it was disabled, and including the wheel that Civilian Arc mentioned earlier, which popped out at the end of the battle. But because of Tantrum's dead weapon, and like I would still give Bloodsport the advantage, knowing they were able to land a ton of massive shots with that horizontal spinner. As for control, yeah, like Pory and Civilian said, I would give all 3 control points to Tantrum as they were constantly pushing Bloodsport around, slowing down that spinner, and they had complete control for like 90% of the match and so on. So and then for aggression, I'd go 2-1 in favor of Tantrum here, as Tantrum was a lot more aggressive, especially in the later point of the match, as during lots of the battle, like Bloodsport was kind of running away, trying to get the weapon up to full speed so that they could go in for another hit and stuff. Like while Tantrum was just constantly charging, box rushing Bloodsport, and Aaron Hill did a terrific job doing it here. Like, I think Tantrum won this battle with 7-4 scoring stuff, and I think Aaron Hill deserved the win. And can't wait to see Tantrum in the top 8, as it's amazing how far Aaron Hill has come. Because in the 3rd season, I think wasn't his only victory Battle Royale with Cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it only got 3 fights, and one of them was an exhibition against Tombstone. So,
which of course
the
Tombstone battle was one of my favorite Tantrum fights of all time, because the fist getting stuck in the glass is probably my favorite moment of Battlebots, even like throughout all 5 revived seasons and stuff. Yeah. So I don't care what people say. That's my favorite moment.
It was a good one.
Yeah. And then of course, though, last season Tantrum got a few bigger opponents and managed to take it to them, along with get a few other wins. And says, yeah. So I know they took out Gemini. Then they win a Rumble against Uppercut, and I think it was Jasper.
Yeah. Uppercut probably would have won that though, but they just had like technical issues, and
I think that was their first battle.
That was their first battle. They were just it was like first battle teething troubles.
Yeah.
And they also won that really wonky exhibition match.
Didn't they win a controversial decision against Lucky?
That stupid decision with Lucky.
And that decision was warranted. Lucky wasn't driving straight at all. Like
I'd still give it to Lucky. That was still Lucky's win.
That should have been a double loss. Like that fight is the reason why they have a double loss in the rules now, because that fight, should have been it.
Like you could legitimate. I can't even hear you could legitimately. Thank you, Pory. You could hear the fans booing from the decision.
Yeah. I think it was the wrong decision, but it's an exhibition fight, so who cares?
But yeah, that Tantrum ended up getting a bunch of big dogs that year, as well as he took on Scorpios and Yeti, even though he didn't win in either of those fights. Like, it was great, like, learning experience about his robot, and he came into this season and took out quite a few big teams so far. He took out Bloodsport, or managed to take out a Waiachi bot last round.
Almost took out Valkyrie.
Yeah, Valkyrie
Yep.
would have been
Took
them
it to
if they hadn't
Valkyrie.
died.
Probably would have won that battle if they didn't like lose battery power.
Yeah, would
Or
have gotten 3-0 if it weren't for what happened.
yeah. And then of course gotta say the same to Bloodsport as well, because they came into last season, went 3-1 in the regular season, and lost in the last chance episode to Uppercuts, and came into this season had a perfect regular season where they took out a few major machines, and then made it to this point. I mean, it's great how even how far even both of these teams have come in this
Yeah.
season. Yeah. I hope we'll get to see both
We'll be
bots
right
back next season. Of course, though, we'll see Tantrum in the next episode.
Hmm.
So, yeah, anything else about this battle?
Yeah, Tantrum just proved my point that it's going all the way. It can take the hits and just throw bots wherever he wants them to. Take them to the pulverizers, run them to the screws, set them on fire when they're on top of him.
Maybe they'll add the flamethrowers back.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Yeah, as I know they removed the flamethrowers for the past few battles so that they could have the weight to add more or like batteries and stuff, like get more juice and stuff so that they could last full 3 minutes like this one and
Yeah.
such. Because yeah, Aaron Hill mentioned during his interview that he was incredibly nervous just because the last few battles ended in knockouts, and this was their first judge's decision this season, and it was a really close one, and it was a relatively difficult one to call.
Yeah.
So, anything else on this battle from you, Pory, or should we get to the next one? Couldn't hear you, Pory.
Yeah.
Tantrum did pretty good.
Tantrum's gonna win the nut.
Well said to both of you. All right, on to the next battle, where we got the top seed Hydra, whom will be taking on Gigabyte. So coming into this battle, Hydra was originally hinting in the past few weeks on social media that they would have an attachment for Gigabyte here. Here, kind of made out of parts, I believe, from the bike rack they used against Huge. Huge, well, not exactly. Here might be
Yeah,
something.
it's from parts from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were intending to use that to be able, in like a de-icer type position, grab a hold of the self-righting mechanism on Gigabyte and prevent Gigabyte from making contact to Hydra with their full body spinner and such. Let's go with a defensive tactic like that. But then that ended up not being the case, as Team Waiachi explained on social media that right before they came out, like revealed their bot, that was when they removed the attachment, as they were using that to try to confuse Gigabyte a little bit, even have Gigabyte change their strategy and so on, kind of throw them for a loop. But then, of course, even though Gigabyte did come prepared in case if Hydra did come in with that attachment, as they welded, as you could see right on the top of Gigabyte there, they welded on some like extenders to, I don't know what to call those things, to the top of their bot, kind of like to kind of like prevent those things from making contact, because Gigabyte, the team actually does have experience with a like attachment like that, is when Megabyte took on Sewer Snake like years ago. Sewer Snake came in with a similar configuration like that, so the team knows that a configuration like that works against a full body spinner like them, so they adapted to it, and of course it kind of wasn't necessary. So we end up seeing Hydra come in with their horizontal little spinner defense here. As you see, there's a plow right on the front, clearly, even though you can probably only see a little bit of it. And it worked quite well for this battle, as Hydra was able to take a lot of punishment from Gigabyte Spinner and managed to land a solid, I believe they said 13 flips once again. And in this episode,
lucky number.
or in this battle. So what do you guys think of this battle?
It was a fun fight. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was sweet seeing Gigabyte get airtime. I'm proud of Gigabyte because they survived till the end. It's shown that they are much more durable than they have been in previous years, and hopefully next year we'll see them go even deeper into the tournament. And I hope so because Gigabyte is sweet.
Matt's gone.
Yeah,
What?
spinning the fidget spinner because this thing is amazing. I kind of have to.
I gotta get one eventually.
Yeah.
Matt's gone.
But yeah, what I was honestly hoping to see, because I saw images from this battle before I saw the actual fight that showed that Hydra didn't have that attachment on. But I was really hoping to see, not for the reason because I have a grudge against Hydra for using the bike rack, because I personally like the idea, I like the strategy that Jake came up with for that battle. But what I was hoping to see was Gigabyte destroy that thing at the beginning of the battle. Oh, that's what I was hoping we would have seen happen, but I'm still happy even if it didn't happen because this was an incredibly entertaining battle. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and including want to know what this battle reminded me of? Which I told you two earlier. This reminded me of Beyblade, basically, old cartoon anime show. Oh, basically that I watched when I was quite a bit younger, and such. So, basically, how that reminded me of Beyblade is basically whenever one person like sent the other person's Bey flying, basically that was Hydra flipping Gigabyte. You would see like exactly that what you would see on that show, and it was so much fun to watch. But Hydra definitely executed their strategy like to perfection in this one, as they used their front to absorb the hits on Gigabyte and managed to get underneath them with that flipper where they launched them in the air, including had a few moments where Gigabyte like couldn't spin because they were flipped over, so they were able to self-right, and then Hydra was able to immediately flip them again, which stacked up the points in their favor for this one.
Yeah.
And like what Pory said, Gigabyte survived that many flips, just proving their durability for this season. Is they, even though their spinner didn't last for the entire battle, as it did stop spinning eventually, like in the last 30 seconds, I believe, somewhere in that area.
It lasted till the end though. Like it's
I saw
it was still driving perfectly. Including it was fun seeing Matt Maxham again once as he was running the weapon, and once again.
Matt Maxim, if you're watching this podcast, we want Stinger back.
Give me Stinger back. He is my favorite robot ever. How dare you take him away from me?
Yeah, I would love to see Stinger back. I think Stinger would be great for lots of the bots that's here in the competition and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this battle, as we hinted, did end up going the full 3 minutes after we saw a major brawl between those three. Of course, though, right when Gigabyte's spinner stopped spinning, Hydra's flipper got stuck up in the air once again. As the last time we saw that happen was in Hydra's battle with Uppercuts, where it eventually got stuck up in the air. Not sure if that could be potential damage that Gigabyte managed to do, as Gigabyte did manage to land a few nice shots. And potentially damage could have stacked up for them and caused the flipper to get stuck, or some other reason. Who knows? As I bet Waiachi will probably explain that eventually. So, as for the judge's decision, what do you guys think of that one?
That was right.
Fine. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I was satisfied with the decision as well, as I think the judges made the right choice with this one. As damage, I would actually have that one as a reasonably close one. I would actually give that one an advantage of Hydra 3-2. Gigabyte did land a ton of nice shots, including the flipper being stuck up in the air, kind of sticks out to me. But then I'd still give Hydra 3 of the damage points, because there's Gigabyte where their weapon wasn't working, and for about the same amount of time Hydra's flipper was stuck up in the air. Of course, then there was also the many times that Gigabyte got flipped up in the air. Also, it looked like towards the middle of the battle, because we saw John like ordering Max to shut down the spinner temporarily. looked like they were having like weapon and drive issues. It was like during the middle of the battle, as you'd see when they were trying to spin up at one point, like their self-righting mechanism was moving at a similar speed to the full body spinner, and that was giving them a lot of trouble. But luckily they were able to overcome that eventually, and they were able to continue the battle with that spinner working at full speed and everything. So then of course, as for like and aggression and control, I would probably give Hydra all 3 points. I would maybe give Gigabyte an aggression point potentially, as I did have a little aggression in there, but I think Hydra definitely won both of those categories as well.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Any other differences from you, Pory, in that?
No, I pretty much agree with you. That's about where I stand with it.
But yeah, this was an entertaining battle. It was great to see Gigabyte go this far in the tournament. I hope we'll get to see Gigabyte back once again, as it's an incredibly fun bot to watch. Including we'll get to see it in an upcoming bounty once again, so which will be quite fun. So, anything else about this battle, or should we get on to the Battlebots 2020 Giant Nut winner who fights in the next one we're going to discuss?
Matt, come back.
I'm ready for that Gigabyte redemption next year.
Of course. Yeah, because I would honestly love to see a full body spinner take the Giant Nut. I don't think we've seen that happen since Son of Waiachi. I haven't seen a tournament. I haven't seen a major. Like, I know Son of Waiachi won Comedy Central Battlebots once.
I think Ziggo won season 4 lately.
Yeah, Ziggo won 3 times, I think.
No, I think it was twice.
Yeah,
it was
three times. Like there was the
Long Beach 99.
Long Beach, season 2, season 4.
Oh, so there's 4 3-time Giant Nut winners then.
Yeah. I know Megabyte made the final 4 I think Megabyte made the final 4 in the first season of King of Bots as well.
Oh yeah, he came third.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so Hydra will move on to the next round, where they will take on the winner of the rematch between Valkyrie and Whiplash, which we will be discussing later in this podcast. Let's now get on to the next one, where we have the Battlebots 2020 Giant Nut winner, in my opinion, Black Dragon, who is taking on the big dog Tombstone, another bot I would love to see win, because I would be happy no matter who wins, whether it's the team I predict would win or if it's somebody else. So Black Dragon took out their flamethrower, or well, at least that's all they revealed here as for what Black Dragon had to do. And so that way they could add a wedge that was designed for a massive horizontal spinner like Tombstone. So I've talked with a few of their team members, and they've mentioned that they have something special for Tombstone, and this would be it. Tombstone came in with a shorter bar for this one to try and like get a bunch of major impacts, even though it removes like some of the reach they would have. And this was an excellent battle for the most part. So what do you guys think of this battle?
Okay, this was probably my least favorite fight of the episode. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but yeah.
It's a push match.
Like, and I'm just not a fan of push matches, unless it's like Stinger being a complete wedge about things.
Stinger come back.
Yes. We should make like a parody song of it, like the Baby Come Back song, but it's Stinger come back.
But yeah, pretty much what we ended up seeing in this battle is we saw Black Dragon approaching Tombstone cautiously, including Tombstone tried to pull off the same driving tactic he used against Lockjaw, at least it looked like, where he would try to spin around and manage to clip one of the wheels on Black Dragon, try to target those things. But the people driving Black Dragon denied that in this battle, as they were they always kept their distance away from Tombstone when Tombstone was trying that, and went in and landed the shots they needed right at the perfect timing. This was a well-driven match by Black Dragon, and especially the beginning of this battle.
Well, that's Tombstone's signature move, the whole swing around when, pretend that like, oh yeah, look, my wheels are open, and the robot goes for the wheels, and he's like, just kidding, and he spins around. That's always been kind of his trademark move, and I'm sure the Black Dragon team was aware of it. They were like, oh yeah, we're not falling for that.
Yeah.
As they were they were showing a lot of caution until after both bots' weapons died, which didn't look like either of them lost a belt. I know Tombstone did not lose his weapon chain. Don't think I saw Black Dragon lose a weapon belt either. So I'm guessing it was both like weapon interior electronic problems or something like that they had. I don't know for sure, or I don't think I've seen either team like post like a damage report or anything like that mentioned that.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's just the kinetic energy, like
Yeah.
Tombstone is in many ways a glass cannon. Like it's he's gonna hit you hard, but if he there's always that chance that he'll hit you too hard and like it'll kill him too.
Yeah, we saw those two big shots that gave Tombstone a little air time, and which kind of supports your point, Pory.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when both of the bots' weapons died, it was pretty much a push match from there for the rest of the battle. And at least as for how I saw this battle, Black Dragon and won the push battle, as that wedge just really helped them in this one, as they just did not give Ray Billings a chance to like get to the sides of the backside at a Black Dragon, try to push them that way. They just kept that front towards Tombstone and just constantly was pushing him around, pushing him into the rails and everything. And until the clock hit 0, signaling a judge's decision. As this one did go the full 3 minutes. So what do y'all think of the judge's decision then?
Yeah, it was spot on.
Yeah, it was fine. It was good.
Yeah, I completely agreed with the judge's decision. I think this one was probably the easiest judge's decision to call all out of this episode, as there's a few more judge's decisions coming and in the upcoming fights we're going to discuss here. As for damage, it's like overall, I find damage in this battle to be like relatively even. Now, as both bots lost their weapon, I think Black Dragon had quite a few marks on their wedge from the hits that they took from Tombstone, and because of that, I'm probably gonna give Tombstone the edge in damage, but 3-2. But then as for like aggression, I'd probably score 2-1 in favor of Black Dragon. The reason why I would give Tombstone a point for that is Black Dragon was not being aggressive at the beginning of this battle, which was probably a good thing because they timed their shots perfectly at the beginning of that match, and which is kind of what they needed to do for this battle, rather than like get caught by that horizontal spinner and potentially lose a wheel, no matter how durable their wheels currently are. But then as for control, I'd give all three of them to Black Dragon. Black Dragon had control of like the entire push match. They had control of majority of the beginning of the battle as well, before that push battle happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see Black Dragon move on, where they will take on Pory's predicted champion Ribbot, which should be an excellent battle. Two relatively similar designs, as they're other than Ribbot being modular, is both have quite powerful weapons. Both are well driven, fast, maneuverable, reliable, all that stuff. It'll be an excellent match no matter who wins. Although, of course, the winner of that battle will get bragging rights between Pory and I.
We're about going all the way.
And then the loser gets made fun of by Civilian Arc, since I'm pretty sure Civilian Arc still wants revenge for last.
Oh yeah.
The worst.
Even though I was not very good with my roasts last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be fun. And either way.
Back for you. I'm still coming back at you.
Yeah. All right. On to the next battle, since I think we're safe to move on. We got
Yeah.
Valkyrie and Whiplash, another rematch except it'll be from this season. We saw these two fight in a main event, and I believe the main event prior to the top 32 starting, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Last main event.
Yep, this one was the final main event, and overall, the strategy between these two was relatively the same, but then they made some minor improvements as Valkyrie worked to make sure their weapon was functioning a lot better than it was in their first meeting, try to keep their weapon spinning so they could dish out as much damage as possible, which they succeeded at that, in my opinion. And then, of course, Whiplash, you can kind of see what they did on their front as we see them in here with no vertical spinner once again, and is similar strategy to what they did last time. They changed the wedge, like you could see there, or try to keep Valkyrie from managing to strike onto their top, like how Valkyrie did last time they fought. And overall, worked pretty decently. And in my opinion, this was a much better battle than the last time these two fought this season. So, what do you guys think of this battle?
The first time they fought was an amazing fight, and they actually managed to top it with this one. It was impressive.
Yeah, I liked it, not as much as the first one, just because it was like, I think it just needed a bit more time until there could be a rematch, because like I'm not a fan of there being rematches like automatically after their fight, like kind of like Bombshell versus Lockjaw in 2018. I didn't like existing for the second time, but this was still a pretty good rematch. I liked how Valkyrie was still working until the final 30 seconds, and I liked how Whiplash was being a bit more aggressive with it. It had a few fun lifts there, so it was a pretty good fight overall.
Yeah, definitely. Is Valkyrie's spinner lasted a lot longer than it did last time, as said by Civilian Arc, and it's one of the reasons why I agree with Pory, how they managed to top the amazing show they put on for us the first time this season. As this was incredibly entertaining to watch. Of course, the Whiplash did seem to come out of it with more damage, not just because Valkyrie's weapon lasted longer, but I didn't rewatch the battle, but supposedly there was smoke coming out of Whiplash
Yeah,
at the end. I didn't notice that when I watched the episode earlier, and I probably should have rewatched the fight before doing this, but and so on. But it was still a fun fight to watch, even if I didn't notice that thing. Is I'll probably rewatch at least the battle later tonight.
Yeah.
So this battle ended up going the full 3 minutes once again, and it was scored in favor of Whiplash. Did you guys agree with that?
yeah.
Yeah.
As did I. As damage, I personally would give Valkyrie 4 of the 5 damage points, as I think they did a lot more damage to Whiplash here, and really the only damage I think Whiplash really did in this one and was break Valkyrie's spinner. There was one moment partway into the match where the spinner was stopped, but then it got going once again, but then it stopped functioning once again later in the match. Plus, there's the smoke coming out of Whiplash coming at the end of this battle that I would give Valkyrie some credit for. Is that's definitely not something you would exactly want to see going into like a judge's decision. But then as for aggression control, just like last time, I would give all 3 of each to Whiplash, as this one was very well controlled. They were a lot more aggressive than Valkyrie here. Matty Vasquez, another excellent driving performance by him, as we saw him get to the backside of Valkyrie multiple times where Valkyrie can't hit them quite as hard as they could coming from the front. And Whiplash took advantage of that, managed to push them into the rails several times, sent Valkyrie flying through the screws. And I'm curious how much of that, how badly Valkyrie dented up the screws. It was like all the screws that Valkyrie hit in that moment.
Valkyrie hates the screws. It's hit the screws so many times in its career. Like,
I think it's more like I would rephrase that to Tombstone really hates the screws, because
no,
there was Valkyrie where they got pushed into the screws. There's Tombstone where he literally drove into the screws in the Mad Catter fight.
The screws were what got Valkyrie the loss with Quantum, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Valkyrie could be coming after revenge for that
I mean,
one.
Valkyrie Spinner wasn't working to begin with in the
Yeah,
Quantum.
but I mean the screws are like the final straws though in the fight.
Yeah, well, Quantum was going to win either way.
I want a rematch.
Honestly, it could have been close because Valkyrie was doing some damage until the weapon stopped functioning, but
Well, I mean, yeah, but after that, it's pretty much Quantum's game.
yeah. But yeah, either way, that was an excellent fight. This was an excellent battle. Well,
Yep.
yeah, sadly, it's too bad that we're getting to see Valkyrie leave, but I hope we'll get to see Valkyrie once again, as it's a great bot. I want to see Valkyrie win it all someday.
Yeah,
I
this was a freaking beautiful run by Valkyrie. Like,
Yeah.
hasn't made the top 16 ever. Well, it like always almost makes the top 16, but like it always loses the fight where it could show up.
Yeah.
Well, like this time it finally made it. So I'm sure the Valkyrie team is like happy. Like really, really happy. So like GG's for Valkyrie, great run. And hope to see you next year. Or this
Thank
year.
you for the points.
Yeah, we'll see Valkyrie and the Witch Doctor bounty that's coming out next, actually. Well, March 11th, but you get what I mean by that. And yeah, Valkyrie is another bot where you gotta appreciate how far it's come. Now they first came in 2018, where they started off with a few losses, but then learned a lot about their bot, managed to pull off a few epic wins, and participated in the Last Chance Rumble in that season.
Like, remember when they lost against Ultimo Destructo? And
now their first fight, they lose to Ultimo Destructo, and then they move on to like, beating like higher tier robots.
Yeah. Then after that, I believe they beat Balespear and Predator, I believe, if I remember right.
Correct,
I don't know if I'm getting the order right.
No,
and
you're getting it right.
Then there would be the Desperado, where they took out Hypothermia, but then lost to Lockjaw, which is where this wheel came from. And then won against Red Devil, went to the Last Chance Rumble, where they unfortunately lost. Probably would have gotten third place in that, in my opinion.
Third, yeah.
I'd say fourth, because I'd say Gigabyte was like in the top 3 along with Duck and Bombshell. So I'd say Valkyrie.
Actually, yeah. I feel like if Gigabyte hadn't died, they would have won the Last Chance Rumble.
Yeah, because it was doing a ton to the opponents.
Yes. But yeah, gotta appreciate how far Valkyrie's come, including one of my favorite Valkyrie fights had to be when they beheaded Overhaul that year as well.
That was like the best basement fight ever, in my opinion.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
They were part of the worst basement fight ever, too.
Yeah.
Why would it be the worst basement?
Ribbot let them win.
Ultimo Destructo.
Yeah.
That was just terrible.
Oh yeah, Ultimo Destructo was a basement fight. That's right.
Yep. Yeah, and then Valkyrie earned in 2019. Started off with a loss to Hypershock, but then bounced back, got 3 solid victories against Ragnarok, Petunia, and Monsoon as well, who is a heck of a bot. And even though they didn't make the top 16 after losing to Quantum, they come a long way. So came back this season, managed to take out a few elite machines along the way, get to the top 16, and so on. I hope Valkyrie comes back. Yeah,
I'm sure they will be.
They most likely will.
Yeah, I feel like Valkyrie will be back. Of course, though, I don't want to say anything.
Out of all the bots that lost in the round of 16 this year, I feel like Valkyrie's the most likely to come back, in my opinion.
Valkyrie
or Tombstone.
Just because they're probably hyped from last season, and they probably want to get back in there and try to win that nut again.
Yeah, I don't see Valkyrie quitting anytime soon. Also, Stinger, come back, please.
Yeah, what Pory said. Get back here now.
We need Valkyrie versus Stinger.
Like,
That's
bring
what we
Sewer
really need.
Snake if you want, but we need a Matt Maxim bot. We need
Yeah,
one.
we need some Mad Max, some madness. That's all I need.
We need some Maxim mad driving.
I completely agree with that. But let's get on to the next battle after this excellent face-off. We got Mammoth, who pulled off probably the biggest upset of the tournament, and well, yeah, in a way, biggest upset here, taking out the 3-seed Copperhead in their last battle. Their opponent is Shatter, who is taking on Lockjaw and such. And I see Civilian might be reacting to that. I can't tell and such, but Pory's laughing about something, so
No, I'm just happy today. Yeah.
fair enough. So these two bots met, and Mammoth, I want to say they watched this podcast, watched the last week's podcast during filming of this season, because they threw a bunch of titanium right on their control board area to defend themselves from Shatter's hammer. And even though we didn't get to see Shatter land a shot there, but Mammoth did post a test video of Shatter landing a shot right on that thing where Shatter dented it, but they didn't get through it at all, proving that Mammoth had their controls pretty well protected in this battle. So what did you two think of this battle?
It was a fun fight.
Yeah, it was a pretty good fight, I'd say. Yeah.
In my opinion, this is probably my least favorite fight of the episode, but it was still overall a pretty fun fight.
I feel like it could have been better than what it was, but I still like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mammoth was just giving Shatter a lot of trouble in this battle, as we did see Shatter land a ton of great shots with that hammer, including they managed to get the weapon belt on Mammoth, disabling their lifter. But even when Mammoth's lifter was disabled, they were continuing to control the match, as they smothered Shatter multiple times. And lots of times when Shatter would try to strike with that hammer, right in the lifter area, Shatter did not really get the best of that exchange, as they were flipped over a few times and such. But then Shatter got a few nice hits in with that hammer eventually before their hammer supposedly got disabled. I don't know if that's true that it got disabled, or if Am Wrigley just decided to stop firing the hammer or something. But we did see lots of great moments out of this one from both bots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then this battle ended up going the full 3 minutes once again, and I think that's like the third or fourth battle in a row that went the full 3 minutes here. But then, of course, though, the big thing that Chris and Kenny were talking about, and even Shatter's team as well, as one of Am Wrigley's teammates noticed this, but right the last few seconds, right when the clock hit 0, one of Mammoth's wheels fell off.
No.
What I think happened there was, in my opinion, what I think happened there was not that one shot that Shatter managed to get on a wheel, because you'd seen a replay that Shatter did land a shot right on one of Mammoth's wheels. I think it was the kill saws that caused the wheel to fall off instead of Shatter's hammer, but would still count against Mammoth and such, because it's still signs of damage, and it was done by the arena hazards, in my opinion. But what did you two think of this decision?
I disagreed with it. It was not a good decision.
I agreed with it. I mean, I thought it was okay.
Damage, here's what I do for damage. Damage 4-1 Shatter. Because 3-2 actually. Because Shatter did seem to lose its hammer at the end there, or the last minute or so. And then, but Shatter still did overall more damage. Control, I'd say that's like fully Mammoth. I'd say like I'd say just I'd say 2-1 Mammoth for that. And then aggression, I'd say 2-1 Mammoth, which is that would be 6-5, I believe.
Yeah, I would probably go 4-1 on damage for Shatter because but I'd also, and I'm being generous with that because I'm assuming the hammer stopped working because we don't really know that yet. But the fact that Mammoth's weapon chain got sniped and the fact that the wheel came off at the last second, I think that's the big thing. That as for control, I would still probably give Shatter a control point. Mammoth definitely had it, but it wasn't 3. It wasn't 3-0 because Shatter was doing some pushing. And aggression, I'm gonna say 2-1 Mammoth, but that still is 6-5 Shatter. But I mean, I feel like if Mammoth had won, I wouldn't really be arguing it either way.
Yeah, in my opinion, I disagreed with this decision as well as how I would have scored this battle. I would have scored it in favor of Mammoth here. But like what Pory said, and like what I said to a few comments about last week's podcast, basically this is one of those types of decisions where I might disagree with it, but it's not something I'm going to make a big deal out of because it was close. Like
Yeah.
you could make a ton of great arguments as for why Mammoth won. You could make a ton of great arguments as for why Shatter won. So why I think Mammoth won. As for damage, I would go 3-2 in favor of Shatter, as Shatter was not as really as effective with the hammers we've seen like in past fights. Now, yes, they did manage to strike the weapon belt, and Mammoth eventually lost a wheel, and Shatter managed to land a few other nice shots. But overall, I felt like eventually the hammers started becoming more of a problem for Shatter than more of a help, because multiple times we saw them try to strike the lifter area, but then the hammer got caught right on like the middle of the lifter and Shatter flipped themselves a few times. So I feel like that became a little more of a burden. That might be a reason why we potentially didn't see the hammer fire, just because of something like that. But then with Mammoth, I would still give them like 2 points for damage because of the trouble they were giving Shatter, even with their busted lifter and a few flips they got at the beginning of the match, as they were giving Shatter a lot of trouble at the beginning of this one. As for control, I'm probably just going to go straight up give all 3 to Mammoth, as I think Mammoth had a lot more control than Shatter did. You could easily make an argument that Shatter should get a control point, like what you two both said, as there are excellent reasons for why Shatter should or shouldn't, and whatever. As for aggression, both bots were quite aggressive in the match, but I feel like Mammoth was a lot more aggressive, especially even with their busted weapon. Like, they were still continuing to like control the match, continuing to be aggressive. If like Ricky Williams did a fantastic job with that, and I would give Mammoth a 2-1 edge on aggression. So I'm scoring it 7-4 in favor of Mammoth. But you could very easily make quite a few arguments that Shatter should have been given some of the points that I awarded to Mammoth and stuff. So this was a close call. I am not disappointed in the result of this battle one bit. So yeah, anything else from you two before we get to the next battle?
No.
Well, it's sad to see the jungle gym go, but it was a good run.
Stinger come back.
Yep. Took the words right out of my mouth, Pory.
But yeah, I hope we'll get to see Mammoth once again next season, as Mammoth had a fantastic run this season. Managed to pull off quite a few surprises, taking out Copperhead in their last battle, getting a win against Deadlift, put up an excellent fight against Hypershock. We saw them take on Smee in the Bounties, where they where it was an excellent battle. And yeah, fun fight to watch. I hope we'll get to see Mammoth again. We'll see Shatter in the next episode, where they'll take on the winner of the last battle of the episode, which we will be discussing next. This episode closed out with Endgame and Rotator here. Last fight of the night, the last Sweet 16 battle here. And this one was practically a 3-minute brawl and such. Like, even though both bots ended up having their weapons die eventually.
Yeah.
Even though Endgame's weapon died midway into the battle, they still approved of their performance in this battle, because not only did they win the battle by judge's decision, but they survived the full 3 minutes. It's many times, like in past seasons, even this season as well, they'll Endgame dishes out a bunch of big shots with that vertical spinner, but then their drive train and something like that quits, resulting in them not being able to move and them losing by knockout. It definitely looked good for them that they were able to survive the full 3 minutes this time. So, and without one of those issues. So, what do you two think of this battle, other than the judge's decision?
It was a fun fight. It was a pretty fun fight to watch.
I don't.
Yeah. I think Victor Soto might have made a major driving mistake towards the beginning of this battle, because I think Rotator might have had a better shot in this battle. Well, his Endgame managed to get a hit on the sides, and then eventually managed to wreck one of the wedgelets and part of one of the other.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if that wouldn't have happened, I think Rotator would have had potentially a better chance in this one. Probably would have been able to show a lot more control in this match than they could have.
Yeah.
But we still saw Rotator dish out a lot of big shots. This battle was not dominated just by Endgame, as Rotator had a ton of big moments themselves here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah, as Rotator controlled a big chunk of this match as well. Rotator definitely one of the nominations for most durable bot this year, as that's a bot you cannot kill. You might be able to hurt it, but you can't kill it.
I mean, unless you find a way to go for the wheels or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which of course Valkyrie very nearly was able to, who in that battle. But yeah, Endgame's weapon ended up dying early. It looks like, especially from that image, looks like they lost belts. They lost all 4 weapon belts, as they have 4 weapon belts this season, as explained by their captain and Witch Doctor's recent episode of their podcast and such. And this was a fun battle to watch. This one did go the full 3 minutes. So what did you two think of the judge's decision here?
No.
And why is that?
Okay, so first off, damage. Rotator clearly did more damage. I'd say 4-1, just because Rotator was doing more damage most of the time. Yeah, Rotator, both bots lost their weapons, but Rotator was just had its weapon for much longer in the fight and was doing much more in the fight. Control, I'd say end game 2-1. Because it did control for the most part. It did shove Rotator places and stuff like that. And then aggression, I have end game 2-1, because it was still being very aggressive, but that is still 6-5 in favor of Rotator.
Yeah, that's about where I stand. I feel like, much like the Mammoth Shatter fight, it's it could have gone either way, and there'd be a bit of an argument against it. But I probably would have voted for Rotator if it was me, but I can see why Endgame would win. It was definitely that close.
Yeah, as for my opinion, yeah, this is definitely one like what Pory said. This one could go either way. I wouldn't argue with the decision, and no matter no matter which direction it went. But as for how I scored this battle, I scored this one in favor of Endgame. I supported the decision made by the judges. As for damage, I scored it 3-2 in favor of Rotator, as Rotator's weapon did last a lot longer. As Endgame's weapon died, I believe, in the first minute of the match. That's like due to losing 4 weapon belts. But I still give Endgame a lot of credit because there was Rotator's busted weapon. There would be the few wedgelets. There would be the wedgelets that Endgame managed to damage, and a few other big hits that Endgame managed to land before their weapon died. But yeah, I'd still give Rotator a lot more credit for damage. It's just because their weapon lasted a lot longer. And yeah, they practically disabled Endgame's weapon and such. But then as for like aggression, I'm scoring that 2-1 in favor of Endgame, as especially while Rotator's weapon was working. Rotator was on the run for quite a bit of the fight just to try to spin up that weapon, while Endgame was just staying in Rotator's face the entire time, just trying to keep that horizontal spinner from getting to spun up, try to keep it from landing too many big shots, try to save the amount of work they would need to spend repairing the bot for their next fight potentially. But Rotator was overall little. Rotator was aggressive enough where I would give them an aggression point, but I still score that part 2-1 in favor of Endgame. As for control, I give 2 out of 3 to Endgame, and it was honestly a coin toss on that one on whether I give all 3 control points to Endgame or 2 out of 3 to Rotator. Because even while Rotator's weapon and was spinning and stuff, Endgame was still controlling the match, like constantly pushing around Rotator in this one. And Endgame won the push fight that we saw at the end of the match because Rotator's weapon eventually died. And we saw a push battle for the rest of the match. But I'm still going to give Rotator one of those points because there was a moment in there where Rotator started to look like they were going to turn the tables in this battle, take control of it, and win the battle that way. But that didn't exactly happen. That didn't exactly happen for very long, but long enough where I will give Rotator some credit for it. But I scored this one 7-4 in favor of. Wait a sec. No, 6-5 in favor of Endgame here, but close decision and was an excellent battle. Full nose.
There's only one who could truly decide the fate.
Oh God.
The coin.
Could the fidget spinner decide it too?
Depends on what day it is.
Yeah, it's very circumstantial.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was definitely an excellent fight. Hey, was a pretty good way to end the night, as it was a fun battle to watch. I highly enjoyed it. I don't know if you two are the same way and such. But anything else about this battle?
Come back, Stinger.
Stinger, we need you.
Oh man, that's just gonna be a new thing for this podcast, isn't it?
Till they actually come back, yes.
The Stinger podcast.
I should rename it to Matt Maxim Come Back. That podcast. But not that name, but something like it. But yeah, this was an excellent battle. Good way to end the night here. But before we close out this podcast, just like the last 2 episodes, we got upcoming matchups here. The Elite 8 was determined, 8 bots left here. So I thought, just like the last 2 episodes, we could talk about them and share predictions for them. So I don't know. Should I go first, or one of you two want to go first?
You go first.
Yeah, you can go first.
All right. Yeah, I'll go first. So at the top of the table, we got the top seed Hydra and the 8 seed Whiplash here. This one could be a difficult one to call. Now, as Whiplash mentioned in their interview after their victory against Valkyrie, that they have two possible configurations that they might use against Hydra. They didn't reveal what those were, but they called one of them like a safe route, and one of them like a not as safe route, basically, kind of referencing like Red Devil from their battle with Witch Doctor, because they mentioned that they had two possible configurations to use against them: the plow, which they could use for defense, or the claws, which they used for that one, which they figured that it was risky, but they could win that way. That's what I'm guessing Matt Vasquez was saying based on that in his interview, kind of like one of the strategies are riskier than the other. But either way, this should be a fun matchup here, as we got two excellent drivers, two very well built bots here. I think I'm gonna pick Whiplash to win this one, as I think Matt Vasquez can pull off another great driving performance and outdrive Jake Ewert and Hydra. Managed to control this fight similar to how he managed to outdrive Bronco a few seasons ago. But this will be a close one. This will be a really tough one to call. Then fight number 2, we got Ribbot and Black Dragon, which I'm going to try my best to say neutral here. So as for this one, this is another really tough one to call here. Now, as these are two, like, even though Ribbot isn't like a completely vertical spinner bot, as it's got a horizontal spinner configuration here, these two are honestly really similar in design. Both bots are fast, they're maneuverable, they're well driven, and powerful weapons and stuff like that. Like, this will be a tough one to call. Those what I'm expecting is going to happen is I bet Black Dragon is going to come in with a similar configuration to what they did with Copperhead, but I don't know for sure. With Ribbot, I bet we're going to see the vertical spinner and the wedgelets once again. And we'll see a battle to see who's the lowest to the ground bot between the two, but I don't know for sure, as I don't know what the teams had in their mind. As I thought Ribbot was going to come with their vertical spinner for this battle with the uppercut, but no, they came with the horizontal spinner and had a good reason to do it. But this one is going to be this one's definitely going to be a close one. I bet this one is going to go the full 3 minutes. I bet if any of these battles go the full 3 minutes, it will be this one, as these two bots are two bots that are both tanks. Like, you cannot kill them. They're both incredibly durable. The big factor, the big concern I might have for either of these bots, Black Dragon, they have had some weapon issues in some of their previous battles here. So Ribbot definitely seems to have like the more reliable weapon between the two. But then with Ribbot, a major disadvantage they will have coming to this fight is simply the repair job from that uppercut fight. As Ribbot had parts all over the arena after that battle. They got even their captain knows that they had a lot of work to do after that battle with uppercut here. Black Dragon, while they did have some damage after their win against Tombstone, clearly, like, I think that Ribbot's probably got a lot more time to spend repairing their bot for this battle here, and that could be an advantage for Black Dragon, especially if Ribbot potentially doesn't come back at 100%, which I doubt would happen because Ribbot's got a great team and stuff, and they do a great job. So my pick is probably going to be Black Dragon here, but this is probably going to be one of my this is probably my least confident between the four of these. This is one really could go either way. Yeah. So, and then the third matchup here, we got Tantrum and Sawblaze. This one is going to be another one where it's a battle for low ground here. Now, it's Tantrum's going to be trying to get underneath Sawblaze. Sawblaze is going to be trying to get underneath Tantrum. I think what is going to happen here is whoever starts the fight off strong is going to win this battle here, or potentially who can outdrive the other. As for driving, I think Jameson Go would have the advantage in this one, as I think he is a better driver than Aaron Hill, but never count out Aaron Hill, as he's had a great season so far. He could definitely pull off something major in this one and potentially like get to the sides of Sawblaze, even get underneath them from the front and potentially bend the forks, kind of like what Witch Doctor was able to do. Close battle this will probably be, but I'm going to pick Sawblaze for this one, as I think I think Sawblaze can win. I feel like Sawblaze would probably be the lower to the ground bot, but I could always be wrong. Tantrum could pull off another major surprise. I've been wrong a lot this season. I'm gonna pick Sawblaze for this one, and as I bet he's gonna Jameson Go's gonna outdrive Aaron Hill, but another one close one to call. This could go either way. We're at the point in the season where anyone could win the giant nut. So as for the last one, which is Shatter and Endgame here, this one could depend on like who lasts the longest, who gets off to the early start. Because I feel like what Shatter is probably going to try to do is they're going to try to go right at Endgame, aim and either try to get to the weapon belts on Endgame spinner, or potentially try to hit into the top armor or of Endgame, see if they can puncture it. While Endgame's going to be probably try to avoid that hammer as much as possible and land as many shots as possible. Shatter is another bot where you just cannot kill that bot, as that bot is very well built to like last battles, as Adam Wrigley has done a great job with the durability, as they've made a few major improvements as for that this season, and it's paying off quite well for them. I'm going to pick Shatter for this one, as I think Shatter could make the final four and be the first battle. And between 2015 and 2020, they would be the first bot to make the final four, or at least first hammer bot to make the final four. Yeah. I think Shatter can pull this off here, but Endgame could very easily pull this off as well, as that vertical spinner is very nasty and is very capable of doing some severe damage here. This could go either way. This is another one of my less confident picks. Now on to one of you two.
Pory, you want to go?
Yeah. Hydra and Whiplash. I think Whiplash is gonna win because they're so well driven, and they're probably a faster robot, I'd imagine. Plus, that spinner does hit pretty hard, and Hydra isn't exactly the most durable machine. Ribbot versus Black Dragon. Ribbot, yeah. No question. We going all the way. Although, like you mentioned, it is going to be a close fight, and it really could go either way. I hope it's Ribbot. Tantrum versus Sawblaze. I'm sorry, Civilian Arc, but Sawblaze is gonna win. Like Tantrum, I'm very happy that Tantrum made the final 8, and
well, you should be happy. Tantrum
quite a bit more confident pick there.
But if Tantrum does go further than the top 8, then I will be very happy about that, because it's like it's not a robot that I expected to get this far. Like, I expected maybe a top 16 bot, but I didn't think it'd be a top 8 bot. And if they go further, then that's rad. But I do think Sawblaze is going to win that. Shatter versus Endgame.
Damn, that was
well
quick. Hydra versus Whiplash. I think Whiplash, because A, better driving. B, we haven't seen it take on like a weapon like Whiplash yet, and Whiplash has had a much better spinner since we haven't seen this much domination from that spinner since like what it did against Hypothermia way back in 2018. So yeah. Ribbot versus Black Dragon. We'll get back to that.
Bro.
Saving the drama for the end, I see.
Yep. Tantrum versus Sawblaze. Pay no regard to what these two are saying. They're just hating on Tantrum.
I said it would be a close match. It could go either way. I might have voted against them, but
to all you viewing, you and I both know that Tantrum's going to come out with a semifinal run, and we're going to get the
if you're listening to this point, you better reply in the comments if you think Sawblaze is going to win. just to tell Civilian Arc how wrong he is about that. I think we lost you.
Yeah, we lost you, dude.
Yep.
Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Shadow versus Endgame. I think that this is an easy Endgame win. Like one of their easiest. Now to Ribbot versus Black Dragon. Um,
Hmm.
I know whoever I pick, the other. Oh, geez. I know whoever I pick, the other person will unsub from me. More than likely.
Pick Ribbot.
Um. um. So here's my thing. This fight mainly comes down to a few categories. Driving, like mobility, low ground, and weapon. Weapon, Ribbot. I think Ribbot has the better weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Driving, Black Dragon. I think Black Dragon has the better driver. Mobility, Kraken. I mean, no, not Kraken. Why am I thinking
Kraken.
Kraken? Mobility. Ribbot has like 4 wheels that move, unlike Black Dragon's 2, so that gives Ribbot like twice the mobility there.
Those are probably a little faster.
Yeah. And low ground, I honestly think Ribbot has more low ground, so I'm gonna go with Ribbot. Moving on to the final
Yeah.
4.
Although you know what this means, Pory.
Ribbot's gonna win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And we're gonna roast you, Green, once that happens.
Yeah, so basically what's going to happen here is whoever wins between Ribbot and Black Dragon, Pory or I, whoever wins that gets bragging rights. Whoever loses gets roasted in the next podcast. But then, of course, though, if Tantrum loses, we have the right to roast Civilian Arc again.
You don't.
No, we do have the rights. It's just that you won't get roasted as hard as the loser between Pory and I.
Yeah, I'm gonna go all out, guns blazing.
Yep. I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, this will be a fun episode. 1 episode left. It ought to be a great one, as I see 4 great matchups here. We'll see 2 probably amazing Final 4 matchups, and an amazing battle to end the season. And we'll see the Giant Nut awarded next Thursday. Hey, yeah, I'm looking forward to all of it. I'm assuming we all know whom we think is gonna take the title, or you
Tantrum.
probably
Ribbot.
Stinger.
Yeah.
Stinger, come back.
Yeah, Stinger. Stinger.
He just
he's
had to do that. Of course,
Yeah.
though, we all know Black Dragon's gonna win it.
Eh. Me and Pory disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree with your opinions, but all opinions are respected here.
Should also add, if Shatter beats Endgame, that would be really awesome. I hope I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah, if Shatter beats Endgame, I get minor bragging rights.
Well, I mean, I hope Endgame wins because it's the only bot left in like my top 5 favorite bots that's still in it.
Like that'd be like the first time a Hammer made this semifinal since like season 2 or something.
Yeah.
Season
Two of
in
my
Comedy
final
Central.
4 2 of my final 4 bots are still in it as from my bracket, and they're my champion and
Yeah.
runner up.
2 of my final 4 are still. No, wait, no. Who's in my final 4? Yeah, 2 out of my final 4 are still in it. Well, no. Yeah, 3 of my final 4 are still in it, actually. Because Black Dragon is in it, Tantrum's still in it, and Whiplash is still in it.
Yep. Black Dragon and Sawblaze for me.
Well, it was Black Dragon Copperhead, but now it's going to be Whiplash Tantrum.
Actually, everyone who I had in my bracket is in it, except for I pretty much, this is pretty much exactly who I had as my bracket, except for Shatter. And realistically, since Discovery likes to spoil fights, I already knew Shatter was in it. I just wanted to go off of like what I would have predicted if Discovery didn't like to spoil the show.
Yeah.
If Discovery didn't suck
my
at
mistake
editing.
so far, I had Valkyrie instead of Whiplash, which that's okay. That was an excellent fight between those two. Happily to have it wrong. I had Uppercut instead of Ribbot, which another thing we're perfectly happy about is, yeah, another excellent few fights. I had Tantrum and Sawblaze in there as a meeting in the Elite Eight. And then I had Shatter and Rotator in for that last match. I predicted a big upset that unfortunately was incorrect from Perfect Phoenix and Endgame, but that's perfectly okay and stuff.
Yeah, I had the only ones I've gotten wrong is for my bracket. So as at the point where we're at now is I had Malice beating Gigabyte but losing to Hydra. So I was wrong about the top 16, but I still had Hydra in it. So, and also I had Copperhead beating Mammoth and Shatter, but obviously that didn't happen. So that's other than that, everything is exactly how I planned.
Definitely.
I think there's 4 bots that I didn't expect to make the final 8. Hydra, Ribbot, Sawblaze, and Shatter. I expected Gigabyte to make it over Hydra. I expected Uppercut to make it over Ribbot. Witch Doctor to make it over Sawblaze, and Copperhead to make it over Shatter.
Bro, come on.
Hey, I'm having Ribbot go to the final 4 for you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Except
What about
you didn't originally have them go into the final 4 though.
Yeah.
Well, I do not think. I'm sorry, Pory. I don't think you can beat Whiplash. I can beat Whiplash, but you can't beat Whiplash.
You can't beat Whiplash.
Yes, I can. I can beat everyone.
I can at least admit that Whiplash is a hard matchup for us, and that we're gonna need some luck behind us to do it.
Tantrum's going crazy. It's gonna go like Ultra Instinct mode on like Sawblaze and rip it apart piece by piece. Then it's just gonna go all Omayawa Mushindaru on Sawblade on Endgame.
And then it's
gonna go all Saitama on freaking Whiplash. They're dead. They're gonna die.
I don't know about that.
They're gonna go.
We lost him at the worst moment, I think.
It's Zoom knowing that he's wrong.
Yeah, it's Zoom telling him how wrong he is and signaling him the temper tantrum he's about to throw in next week's podcast.
What? I disconnected.
We just said that Zoom censored what you were saying there, and basically they're signaling that you're going to be throwing a temper tantrum by the beginning of the next podcast.
Yeah, because tantrums.
Look at that! Zoom just censored him again. He went quiet.
It knows. He becomes self-aware.
The best moments for him to best.
What is happening?
There we go. He's back.
Dude, my Wi-Fi is so stupid.
Are you sure it's not Zoom censoring you because Zoom knows you're wrong?
Yeah, nah. They know. No, see, they're censoring me because they deny the truth, just like YouTube.
It's like how Twitter fact checks posts nowadays. It's like Zoom does that now. If you talk about unrealistic Battlebot results.
I'm just speaking the truth here.
Okay, we'll see next week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll see Ribbot go into the championship. Okay, Pory.
We're about to go all the way. David Jen is gonna be hoisting that giant nut. I'm gonna be posting that picture in the group chat every day.
You're gonna spam it every day.
No, when Tantrum comes in, I'm just gonna pump my giant fist in the air.
His giant fist is gonna be in the air when Sawblaze rips it off in the first hit.
Tantrum is literally the only bot left that can hold the giant nut. It has hands. Hands!
Black Dragon's got
the frog,
mono,
you don't need hands.
Black Dragon's got mono, who can hold the giant nut.
Yeah, but Ribbot's gonna destroy Black Dragon though, so...
Yeah, that's true.
No shot.
But next week when Ribbot is the Battlebots champion, I'm gonna be rubbing it in the whole off season until the day season 6 airs. Every time I'm gonna be patrolling Facebook. I'm gonna be patrolling Reddit, patrolling Discord, patrolling Twitter, Instagram, and every time somebody mentions Ribbot, I'm gonna be like, I told you so.
Pory, I know you're talking about Tantrum. I'm not sure why you're getting Tantrum and Ribbot confused here, but okay.
Bro, no one believes it. I mean, I want you to be right because that would be a flex. But
Yeah,
let's be real here.
I am being real.
But you're not being real because we all know Black Dragon's gonna win.
You're gonna have a hard time getting past Sawblaze. I mean, honestly, Tantrum versus Black Dragon, I could maybe see that, but Sawblaze, they're not beating Sawblaze.
They're beating Sawblaze. No shot for Sawblaze. No shot.
We'll see.
Well, anything else about this whole thing after we were just having like 5 to 10 minutes of fun here?
Stinger come back.
Tantrum 2020.
Black Dragon, the 2020 Giant Nut winner. We got Tantrum, the 2020 Giant Nut runner-up.
No, that's going to be
All
Ribbot
right.
or Whiplash. That's going to be Ribbot or Whiplash.
Whiplash can't be the runner-up when it loses to Ribbot.
Yeah, it's not going to. It's going to be close between you, but I think Whiplash can edge you out. But
Tantrum can't be the runner-up if it loses to Sawblaze.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of the bots that are going to move up to the semifinals, like Whiplash, Ribbot, Tantrum, and Endgame. I think all their previous damage from previous fights will come back to haunt them. And like in the finals, both bots will be like still like have a lot of visible damage shown. So it's going to depend on that.
Very well could.
Maybe.
But I think Tantrum's going to destroy everything. It's going to take out Sawblaze. It's going to end Endgame's life. And it's going to just make Whiplash, make Matt Vasquez go back to driving school because it's driving ain't that good.
Whoa. Yikes. Well, after hearing that one,
I'm calling everyone out.
yep. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching this. Thanks for joining me, Pory and Civilian, as usual. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will hopefully see you for the next podcast.
Like
Tantrum 2020.
Black Dragon's gonna win it all. You'll see.
Subscribe to Civilian Arc.
Subscribe to Green Square.